Hi everybody, welcome back to my Dungeon Boss PvP series. This video is based on a request, and the request was how to defeat Kai in PvP. So when I first asked about the inquiry about defeating Kai, it was more so about what sort of situations are we dealing with in Kai. So there's basically two instances. Either Kai comes first or he does not come first. So I'm going to treat this as if Kai comes first, which basically means he's going to do his surfs up and he's going to negate any AoEs. So this team, the Goblin team, actually works really well against not just Kai teams, but basically any other defense that you can survive the first turn. The reason I like this one so much against Kai in the opener is that he's unlikely never going to be able to kill Zerk. So a Zen Zerk, if you've ever used Zen Zerk in PvP, it's absolutely amazing if you get him to crit, because if he crits on all of his hits, he can get up to 6 hits. So it's actually pretty nice. And you saw that a few seconds ago, he made short work of Grognog, which is amazing because that guy is a real pain these days in PvP. So the fact that Zerk can daze with his first hit is somewhat important depending on the team you're going up against. You have to remember that if you're going against a Kai Shade team, you don't want to try and attack somebody and daze somebody that's going to be immune to it. So dealing with Kozar could be a little bit tricky in some instances, so you have to be a little bit cautious about how you want to approach that. But you can see that this team here made quick work of that particular team, even though there was some tough heroes in there. So we're going to look at another one quick. This is a Kai Shade team with a Grognog and Ponti kicker. So this guy is a little bit lower level than me, but being that he is in the same PvP league, I'm not going to really feel too bad about taking him down a little bit. So same methodology, Zen Zerk. Like I said, if he crits on his first one, he's going to get his own hasted attack, plus he gets Zen's Enlightenment. That's what makes him so awesome. So the reason we bring along Pygnius, I don't know if anybody really knew why I picked him and not some other better hero like Kira or Shade himself. Pygnius amplifies critical damage, so the fact that we're relying heavily on critical damage is important here because Zerk is going to dish out a ton of damage, and if he gets a bonus when he does a crit from Pygnius, that's even more powerful. So we're going to enlighten Zerk like we always do. Attack the biggest threat first, which is Grognog. I always like to attack blue first just because it's a better chance for critical rather than just against the casters. And for those of you that didn't know, Kai is also a caster himself. I don't really know how that works, but Kai is a caster, so Zerk is going to do some serious damage on him as well. So there are instances where this team can fall apart, though. I mean, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. My Zerk is ruined heavily towards critical attacks. So if you don't have critical runes, you're at the whim of what his natural crit is. So you have to be a little bit cautious about that. So if we take a look at this next match, even with the team that I have, like I said, it's not always perfect. If you don't have any type of critical runes, you're going to have to find some somewhere, because this match will give you a classic example of what's going to happen if you don't get a high crit rate. So like I said, I always like to attack the water heroes first because it seems like it's a better opportunity for a crit. I want to crit and get that extra haste and that extra attack in there just to kind of kick things off. So the goal here was to attack Igorok because the daze would be nice to daze him, and ultimately I was hoping to kill him since I couldn't daze Ponti anyways, but he's a caster, so the extra attacks would probably just kill him by default. So we enlighten Zerk, do our normal attack, Dragon Punch on Igorok, and it's not a crit. So he doesn't get his hasted attack, so now he only gets the enlightened attack. So we get the second basic attack. I tried to kill Ponti, didn't crit there, and this one's pretty much over. Once you run into no crits with Zerk, it is incredibly difficult to come back. So at this point here, Ponti basically does his thing. And even though I stick around for this one's pretty much toast. There's no coming back from this one. So that's a classic example of why you need critical attack on Zerk. So even if they're the absolute worst lesser runes out there, if you can find anything that increases your critical chance, you need it on Zerk. Bramble is just kind of there for support. We have to bring Bramble along for his passive that gives Zerk the extra hit. So nothing we can do about that, and Pigneus is kind of there for support as well. He doesn't really need to attack. It's usually just the Zerk show. So in this last match here, this is going to be one of the tougher ones. We're dealing with a Grognog and Kozar combo yet again. No Shade in there. I think, honestly, this guy made a mistake by picking Kai instead of Shade. If this would have been a Shade team, I think he'd have a lot stronger defense, but he may not even actually have Shade. But this particular match is a good instance of basically taking this team as far as you can go. So dealing with guys like Kozar is never fun, but if you get a good set of criticals, there's some benefits to it. So we're going to do the same thing as always. We're going to wait for Kai to do his thing, and we're going to attack Grognog. Alright, here we go. And at the very least, we daze him, which we almost killed him. So he actually survived that. Not really a big issue. The residual attack killed Kai. That's going to happen quite frequently. I didn't choose to attack Grognog directly again because I figured the extra attack would probably kill him. Plus, he was dazed, so he was likely going to miss on his attack anyways. And I made one mistake here. I probably should have did the dance party before I did that one. I'm not sure why I did it in the wrong order, because it would have did amplify damage. But this is where things get a little bit hairy, because now we have just Kozar left, and anybody that goes against Kozar knows that once he does home run, that's kind of lights out. But notice he didn't do home run. He did kill Pigneus, but he didn't do home run. And the reason being is you have to remember Zerk has a passive that when he crits on an enemy, it drains energy from them. So by having Zerk in there, by getting one crit on Kozar, we actually remove some of his energy, which makes him more susceptible. And at the very least, he can't do his AoE attack, and that gives us the extra turn we needed to actually take him out. So hopefully this team can give you an extra little boost in PvP against those lead-off Kai teams. It obviously works against guys like Shade, and it'll work against other guys as well. But the big thing with this one is it pretty much has to be a lead-off Kai team, or at least a lead-off that you know you're going to be able to survive. If Shade or Shadowblade or Kira, if any of those powerful guys lead off, it's likely that some of your guys are probably going to get killed. Lastly, like I said, you do need to rune heavily towards critical percent. So if you're not able to farm some runes or create some runes, you could run into some trouble there. So that's going to wrap up this episode here. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you have other teams you'd like me to try out and you don't want to workshop them yourself, feel free to let me know, and I will be glad to do some testing for you. Thanks for watching. Stick around for another video. Thanks.